My name is Mariah Langwa.
My name is Tessa.
I'm Mike.
I'm Julia.
I am Emma Artisan.
I'm Alistair DePav.
My name is Dylan Rzecki.
I am Malcolm.
I'm Amanda.
I am Hannah Fenlon.
I am Marissa.
My name is Matthew Loftus.
I think communication is one of the foundations of a good relationship.
Communication is a way to resolve problems.
I feel like it's just like whatever's going on in your head, like trying to connect it with, like connect head thoughts.
Communication, I think, is one of the most important things in a relationship. It's really what makes it strong.
Communication is important during any kind of sexual activity because without it, like, there's no way to really know, like, if what you're doing is okay, obviously.
To make sure that you and your partner are comfortable or safe.
Communication and consent come hand in hand.
Go hand in hand.
Without communication, there's no consent.
Like, you're not going to get consent if you can't communicate properly.
Anytime you're under the influence, you certainly express yourself in different ways.
In some of these situations, like alcohol or like other substances, can mess with your communication.
Your thoughts are blocked off by something else, so you can't say what you really want to.
Consent, that's I'd say a deeper stage of communication. Once you feel that you're really comfortable with them and you want to get closer, I guess, in a sense, but you need to really make sure that they're okay with it.
Communication is, like, arguably most important during sexual activity because when you are allowing yourself to be in a vulnerable position with somebody, you are sort of handing over your trust to them inherently. Like, if you are involved sexually with somebody, there needs to be an element of trust and comfort because you are putting yourself in a very emotional and vulnerable state.
I think it's necessary to make one's intentions quite clear before going on with what they're doing.
It comes down to honesty.
Honesty is the best policy.
Just telling them, the other person that you're with, or the other people that you're with, what you like, first of all, because that's going to make it better for yourself, and what you don't like, and what makes you uncomfortable, and what hurts, again, like everything, just so they know, because they're not going to know. And then a lot of times I've seen this happen with myself. I'll get mad at the other person, but they don't know that it wasn't what I wanted because I didn't say anything.
Miscommunication is what causes like misunderstandings in a sexual atmosphere. That's something that is very personal. And if you're not communicating how you feel because of you don't want someone to feel awkward or something, you might do something you're not comfortable with or put someone else in an uncomfortable situation. And you don't even know that you're doing that. It's just miscommunicated.
I think that talking about it and having an open conversation before you and someone else even get into anything sexual, I think being open with each other before will help facilitate those conversations so that when you do get to that place, you both are understanding and overall have a general respect for each other.
I would describe consent as just respect. I think it really just comes down to respect between partners and being able to ask if something's okay and really like considering the other party's feelings as well as your own.
I think the first thing needs to be talking about it and making sure you're both on the same page.
Are on the same page with what's going on.
And just by saying exactly what you need and exactly what you want, then it's so much harder for someone to misinterpret that.
I think what keeps myself and maybe other people as well is from communicating effectively is fear.
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 Fear of hurting someone's feelings, that you don't communicate your feelings when really that's what would solve the problem. You don't want someone to feel bad, and you don't want to feel awkward yourself by confronting someone, so you don't say the things that need to be said.
You don't want to be rejected or you don't want to feel like it's irrational.
I don't think it should affect you if someone doesn't necessarily agree with where you should be going in a sexual relationship, because everybody responds differently, and it might not necessarily be like the way that you look or the way that you act. There can be a multitude of reasons for why somebody doesn't want to engage in the same way you do. So if you always think about it as them just being a completely separate person and not, having to always agree with you, then it can make communication a lot easier.
Communication, it doesn't have to be necessarily always a verbal announcement.
There's like physical actions that are signs of someone is happy and someone is not.
How you move your hands, adjust, even like the slightest bit of adjustment in your body can communicate something else. The way you lean.
Because when you say something and, you know, it's pretty cut and clear, like you know what they're saying. But with nonverbal communication, which happens to be the case for a lot of sexual relationships, you definitely have to feel what they're saying.
It's usually like sort of an unspoken split when something's miscommunicated and you don't address it, that people can have varying sort of interpretations of maybe things that weren't meant to be said.
I think physical consent is not a replacement for verbal consent. I think they both need to be there for something to happen.
Even though it seems kind of dorky or whatever, a little bit awkward sometimes to just say, to ask outright, do you want this or do you want that, or can I do this? You know what, it doesn't matter that much and people get over it or forget it, or it really isn't that impactful, but it changes a lot for probably you, for asking, for feeling better that you asked, and for the person who's like, oh, actually, like, I'm really thankful that you did ask. That's cool, you know?
Yeah, it might take away from the mood, but it's definitely, the consent needs to be given, the conversation needs to be had before you can engage in anything.
In today's world, consent is a huge issue.
Just being open about it and talking to your friends and talking to your parents and talking to everybody about it can really open your eyes to what you're not understanding, because, you know, not everybody doesn't get like consent, not everybody has a hard time with it, but most people do. So if you are having those conversations with the people, with everybody, with people who are comfortable and with people who are uncomfortable, having verbal consent in a sexual relationship or enthusiastic consent, it can change your perception on it, even if you're talking to someone else who agrees with you. I think consent is sexy.
I feel like on the surface, like, it can be really like oversimplified. Like, consent is like yes or no, and like yes, it is yes or no, but like there are so many more layers to like the actual interaction.
People really fail to understand a lot of the time that consent doesn't have any permanence to it.
People have lives that, like, one moment it may be okay, one moment it's not, and I think that a lot of the times there's like assumptions that go into it.
Through your communication, you can take it back, you can alter your consent, you can withdraw it completely, you can say no.
Sex education goes beyond like what we qualify as sex education. Like, we think about sex ed and we think about like condoms on bananas and like you have to ask first, but I think it's like a lot like deeper than that. It's about teaching people literally just how to be nice.